So good morning, everybody. I suggest we start today's practice. We are going to have a practice about hip mobility, how to have a balanced hip opening today. So this is alignment hatha, so we are going to have a look at the alignment of asanas. And to start with, we will start in a pose that is called Sukhasana. It's a cross-legged sitting posture, but in this sitting posture, we don't have this kind of wide opening, but we bring the legs a little further away from us so that the shins are more or less parallel to the mat. And then you bring your knees a little bit closer. You can take the calf muscles a little bit away if they are annoying you, if you have a lot of muscles. So just make sure you bring the knees close together and you have the shins quite far away from you. And then make sure you're sitting onto something, maybe a cushion, maybe a brick, and really allow both of the sitting bones to be heavily on your support where you're sitting on. And then take a moment to place your hands onto your knees and start pulling a little bit the knees closer to you. And feel how you're able to lift up the spine while you're doing this. So you're sitting, you're pulling a little bit the knees towards you to lift up the spine and to elongate. Hold here for a moment, don't close your eyes just yet. Feel this elongation in the spine. And then release the knees, allow the knees to be very heavy. And then finally close your eyes, rest the hands onto your thighs. You can decide whether you want to have them palms facing upwards or downwards. If you feel like you need a little more grounding, I suggest that you take the palms facing downwards. For a little more opening, take the palms facing upwards. And then take a first moment here to arrive onto your mat this morning. To notice how you are feeling this morning. And notice if there's any spot in your body that feels maybe a little tense or uncomfortable. If so, just tell yourself, this is all right. And I can release this at any point during the practice. And then bring your awareness onto your natural breathing, how the breath is flowing in and out without you having to do anything about it. And notice which parts of your body are moving with your breath. Is it only the belly? Is it the chest? The sides of the trunk? Can you even feel it in your back? Take a few moments here, being completely aware of your breathing. And then slowly shift your awareness into your hip area. And notice if there's any tension that you're holding. If so, maybe with your next exhalations, see if you can release it a little bit. With every exhalation, let go of tension. For this, make sure you release the knees towards the ground. You're not holding them up. And always come back if you drift off in your mind to the awareness, to your hips, and the releasing of tension on the exhalation. Really feel what is going on inside of your body right now. Take a last few breaths here. And then gently bring your hands together in front of the sternum. This is where the ribs meet for the last time. Hands are coming into Namaskar Mudra. The fingers are widespread and the palms are really pressing onto each other. Inhale deeply here. And with your exhalation, gently bow your head down to prepare yourself for today's practice, to be completely inside of your body during this practice. And then slowly, next exhalation, release the hands, lift up the head. You can open your eyes. And good morning for those who came later. So we are going to work on hip mobility today. And at first, we're going to warm up our hips a little bit. So for this, place your right hand onto the ground and take as well the left hand to the right side. So you're leaning a little bit. Make sure that you have both knees released and both hips are equally pushing into the support you're sitting on. And then we simply start walking with our hands around us. And once we are completely on the left side, we kind of make a cartwheel to the other side. And if you feel you understand the movement, then just close your eyes here and go into this kind of circling of the body. Don't go too deep just yet. It's just a little warm up here, walking around your body. Make one last circle in this direction. And then afterwards, you change the direction you're circling in. And make sure while you're doing the cartwheel that you're really lifting up the spine. You're making yourself really, really tall. Keep on going here. Last few circles here. One last round. And then come back to sitting and change here the interlacing of your legs. So you're crossing them the other way. So the leg that was in front goes to the back so that the other one is in front right now. Make sure again that the knees are rather close together, shins are parallel to the mat. Exactly. And then now from here, we are going into circles again, but this time we keep our hands on our thighs and we are just circling the upper body to the front and a little back. And make sure your knees are relaxed and both sitting bones are constantly on the support you're sitting on. You don't want to lift up. Very good. Close your eyes here. And then change the direction you're circling in here as well. And if you feel like it, you can combine this with your breath. Exhaling, you come to the front. Inhale, you go back. Few last circles here. Really feel what is going on in your hips while we're doing this. And then after the next circle, stabilize back to the middle. Take a short moment to feel. Inhale, and with your exhalation, raise the arms above the head, long arms. Make sure you're not lifting the shoulders too far. Allow the shoulders to be relaxed. Inhale here, and then with your next exhalation, you twist to the right hand side, taking the left hand onto the knee, the right hand behind you. Make sure you rotate the shoulders back and down. And then if it's comfortable for you, you can as well turn the head over the shoulder. So you're looking to the back. Stay here, keep on breathing. And remember, you can always close your eyes during the practice to be more inside of your body. And then next exhalation, come back to the middle, raise the arms back up. Inhale here, exhale to the other side. Make sure one more time, both shoulders are rotated back and down. And then finally, you can also look over the back shoulder. Stay here, keep on breathing. Draw your navel a little bit in to not overarch the lower back. And then slowly exhale. Come back to the middle one last time. We take the arms up. Keep the arms, look up for a moment. Are the palms really parallel to each other? And are the elbows straight? Really long arms. Hold it here. Draw your navel a tiny bit in, that you're not overarching. Last moment here. And then exhale. Release everything down. Close your eyes for 2-3 breaths. Noticing what has changed in your body after these first movements. And then once you feel ready, take out the support you're sitting on and come onto all fours. Making sure that the hands are really under the shoulders, the knees are under the hips. And here we are going to create what we call a neutral spine. So you're pressing really the hands into the ground. And then we want to draw our navel a little bit in so that we're not overarching the lower back. So we want to have a long spine, a neutral spine, which is the spine that still has a bit of a curve, but not too much. The head is an elongation of the spine and the sitting bones are facing backwards. Close your eyes here for a short moment. And then imagine you're a little dog and you're wiggling your tail. So we are going to bend the sides, bringing the shoulder and the butt closer together, and then coming back to the middle and to the other side. So it's a little bit the shoulder, the head can move as well, and the buttocks that are moving here, just elongating one side, shortening the other one. So moving your tail, and imagine how you really get further than right now the movement is maybe happening. But just if you imagine that you're going further, you will see that with time, it will be possible to go there. Keep your navel drawn in. Don't overarch the lower back. Last moment here. And then come back to the middle. And we go into classical cat-cow movement. So on the inhalation, you arch the back, you open to the front into the cow. On the exhalation, round from the pelvis to the back, and you look towards the navel. Inhale, opening, exhaling, rounding. Make sure
you still keep the hand really pushed into the ground while you're doing this. Inhaling open, exhaling, rounding. And then allow yourself to get more free in this movement. Move especially the hips today. So whatever you feel like doing, do this. You can shift your weight as well to the front and to the back, to the sides. Whatever you feel is right for you. And if you feel you want to go to classical version of cat-cow, that's okay as well. Just check in with you what is best for you this morning. Really allow the body to move. Take the head as well into the movement. Allow to use your body, all the range of motion that you have. Last moment here. Keep on moving. And then from here, while maintaining some movement, we are going up into a downward facing dog. But don't make this the direct way, but just move in creative ways to come up. Whatever you feel could be nice to do, that you're coming step by step a little more up towards a down dog. And once you are in downward facing dog, keep on moving. You can walk your dog while moving the hips as well. Remember to rotate the shoulders away from the ears here. If you were in my last class, you might remember we want to have the pit of the elbow facing forward as much as we can. And then for a moment, come to stillness here in downward facing dog. Keep on breathing. And then lift your right leg off the ground and start making circling movements with this leg. So you keep a strong downward facing dog and you just circle the right leg. Change the direction you're circling in. Very good. And then change sides, right leg to the ground, take the left one up, start making circles here. The knee is bent, like this, it's easier. And change as well the direction here. Opening and closing. Last moments. And then exhale, come back to downward facing dog. Last moment here. Take one more deep breath. And then inhale, release the knees to the ground. You join your big toes together and you open the knees about mat distance apart. And then you release down into Adho Mukha Virasana. You can release the forehead to the ground if you're reaching. If not, maybe take a break where you can rest your head on. The arms can be released for now. Elbows on the ground. And take a moment here to feel inside of your body and especially inside of your hips, where we started to move everything a little bit. Breathe deeply here. And then slowly prepare yourself to come back up into downward facing dog. The way to do it is that we are taking our hands as far forward as we can in this position we're in right now. Spread the fingers wide, hands at least shoulder distance apart. You really press the hands into the ground. You lift up the buttocks, you tuck the toes, you sit back as far as you can one more time, and then keeping the weight in the back of the body, you lift up. Like this, you have less pressure on the hands, so it's easier to keep the downward facing dog after. Stay here for a moment. And then we are going with your next exhalation to lift up the right leg long into the air. Make sure the hips are in one line here. So we're not opening just yet. Inhale, and with your next exhalation, take this leg all the way to the front in between your hands. Here, make sure that the knee, the front knee is on top of the ankle. And make sure that the back leg is really, really long. The hips are facing forward, and then from here, with your next exhalation, lift up, bring the hands into Namaskar Mudra. The back heel is lifted. It's a variation of Warrior One. Stay here, keep the back leg long. This is very important. Keep it long, hips are facing forward. And if you don't have back pain, with your exhalation, take the arms up above the head. In case you have back pain or shoulder pain, take them to the side or stay here. Stay here, keep it strong. Keep on breathing. Inhale, exhale, bring the hands back to the ground. Inhale, exhale, step back into downward facing dog one more time. One breath in between here. And then next exhalation, lift the left leg up. Make sure the hips are in one line. Inhale, with your exhalation, big step to the front. Put it in between the hands, and one more time, make sure the knee is on top of the ankle here. Back leg is strong and engaged, hips are facing the front, and then exhale, come up, hands to Namaskar Mudra. Same thing here. If you feel it's right for you, lift up the arms above the head. Look to the front, keep everything facing to the front, and keep the engagement in the back leg. This leg needs to be long. Like this, we're stretching our hip flexor. Keep on breathing here. And then exhale, hands down, step back one more time into downward facing dog. If you feel like it, you can walk your dog just a little bit in between to bring some more movement. Very nice. And then with your next exhalation, one more time, raise the right leg up high into the air, three-legged dog. And this time you bend the right leg, and now you're opening the hips. Make sure that you're not overarching the lower back. Keep the navel drawn in. Very nice. Stay here, keep it strong. Exhale, come back to the middle, long right leg still in the air. Hips are leveled one more time. And then exhale, bring it to the ground. Change to the other side. With your exhalation, left leg up. First of all, hips are leveled, the leg is long. Imagine you're kicking the foot into a wall. So the foot is flexed. Then you bend the knee and you start to go into opening here. Making sure you're not overarching the lower back. If your hips are cracking, it's good morning hip joints, no problem. Last moments here, keep on breathing. Exhale, come back to the middle. Left leg is long, hips are leveled. Stay here, last moments. Exhale, bring the foot to the ground. And next exhalation, release the knees. Bring the big toes together. And one more time, release into Adho Mukha Virasana. Breathe deeply here. If you feel like it, you can, of course, keep the arms active. But it's totally fine to rest here, keeping the elbows on the ground. Last few moments here. And then prepare yourself one more time to come up into downward facing dog. So reach the hands far away from you, press them into the ground, lift the buttocks, tuck the toes, sit backwards, and then with the exhalation, you lift up into downward facing dog. Stay here for a moment. Very good. And then inhale with your exhalation, just like this, set the right foot in between your hands. Very good. And then from here, we are going to change a little bit the energy. So if I come up like this, I'm kind of pushing my right leg to the front, the left leg to the back. So now let's try to do the opposite, so that I'm pulling this leg backwards and the other leg I'm trying to get to the front. So I'm having this kind of movement. And you see what is happening? My hips automatically get into one line. So try this, keep this holding, and then we take the hands up into a cactus position, really bring the shoulders together and keep on pulling the legs together. Really pull them together. The back leg needs to be very long. Stay here. You feel probably the difference this is making in the stretch as well. Last moments here. And exhale, take it down. Inhale, exhale, step back. Next exhalation, let's directly go to the other side. Left leg is coming to the front. We are having the same movement here. Before you come up, you pull the left leg backwards, the right leg to the front. So pulling it together, that you're not open, but you pull it together. Very good. From here, take the arms into cactus again. Keep the back leg very long. Strong back leg. Draw your navel a little bit in, that you're not overarching the back too much. Stay there. Keep pulling the feet inwards. Like this, you're not dissipating all your energy, but you're actually bringing it together to your body. Stay here, last moments. And then bring the hands to Namaskar Mudra. And with the next exhalation, big step to the front. Very good. Release the hands for a moment. Come to gentle standing, nothing specific, no specific posture. Just stand naturally for a moment. Close your eyes and feel what is going on right now. Do you notice any change in the hip area, in the legs? And what is your breath doing? Is it quicker than before? Or is it totally relaxed? And the same goes for your heartbeat. Do you feel it? Is it accelerated a little bit? Simply observe this. Very good. And then from here, we come into a wide spread of the legs. And make sure that the toes are pointing a little bit outwards. Exactly. And we start with the hands on our waist. Before we are going down, let me show it from the side. So what is very typical is that we start to push the butt out here and overarch the back. So make sure that you really draw your navel in, that you're not overarching the back. So we start from here, drawing the navel in, and then we start to squat down and make sure you're pushing the knees really towards the back, towards the outside. The knees should be in one line with the feet. So if you're not sure if you're in the right position, make sure you look at your feet, you look at the knees, really press them outside and keep the navel drawn in. Strong core. Exactly. Once you found the position in your legs, take the arms up
And make a little chin mudra with the thumb and the index finger. And then make sure you're not leaning to the front, but you bring the weight of the body backwards. Goddess pose. Stay here. Maybe you can sink a little bit deeper. Keep it really, really strong. So in order to gain mobility, we need to have the strength to hold us in an open position. So this is really working here on the opening. Even though you might say, hey, I'm only working on strength. Last moments, stay here. Don't forget to breathe. And exhale, slowly release for a moment. You can shake it a little out, but keep the legs as they are for the moment. Deep breath. And then we go in one more time. Start with the hands on your waist. With your next exhalation, sit down with the legs. Very good. From here, bring the hands onto your thighs. Make sure you're not just leaning on your thighs, but you keep it strong. You should be able to only have the fingertips. This is the way you're holding yourself in the upper body. And then from here, start dipping one shoulder after the other down. So you keep the hips very, very stable, but you're moving the upper body. Keep on breathing. Make sure you don't lean on your thighs. Last moments here. Very good. And then come back to the middle. Take the hands in Namaskar Mudra. Last moment, keep it really, really strong. Push the knees outside. And exhale. Release. Shake it out a little bit. And since I'm German, you have to always do it 3 times because in German we say that all good things are 3. So sorry for that. You need to do it the 3rd time. So prepare yourself. Draw the navel in, hands on the waist. Inhale, exhale, sit down. Very good. This time, hands one more time up. Exactly. Now we are going to keep everything stable and we are just moving our arms. So from this kind of cactus position, you bring them together above the head, palms are parallel here. And then you open one more time, palms are facing to the front. Come up, yes, and open. Combine this with your breath if you can. Exhale, go up, inhale, go down. 2 more. Go up, yes. Last one. Very good, and release. Bring the legs together, you can shake them out. Very good. And if you have bricks, I recommend you take your 2 bricks. If you don't have bricks, you can still do it, but it's a little more difficult because the ground will be closer. So we take the 2 bricks and you place your right foot onto the 2 bricks. Now what is happening now is that this hip is higher than that one. So what I'm going to do is I come up. For the moment, I'm sticking my right hip out. So once I start pushing the right hip in, automatically the other foot is coming up. Try this for a moment, that you're really in line with the hips. You can touch your hip bones if you're not sure if this is right or not. Exactly. And then from here, we go simply in all the movements our hip joints can make. This means lifting the left leg to the front, yeah, flexion. Then extension means bringing the leg to the back. Then we have abduction, opening to the side. Adduction, bringing it back to the body or maybe even a little bit to the other side. Very good. Then come back to the front and we go into rotation. Internal rotation, external rotation. Very good. One more round. To the front, to the back, extension. To the side, opening, bringing it together. Very good. Coming to the front, inwards rotation, outwards rotation, and starting over last time. Coming to the front, going to the back. Keep on working here. This hip really needs to work hard. Good. Bringing it inwards. Last time, inwards rotation, outwards rotation, and then slowly come down. Stand with the feet hip distance apart. Close your eyes for a short moment. And simply notice the difference between the left and the right side of the body now. Take one more deep breath here. And then change sides. So now it's the left foot that will come onto your bricks. Same thing here. If I come up and I have this hip pulled out, pushed out, I need to push it back in to be in one line with the hips, and so the other foot is coming up. And then from here as well, we go into the 6 movements. So we go into flexion, into extension, abduction, adduction, and then rotate inwards, rotate outwards. One more time. Keep it strong in the other leg. Here, the side of the butt and the leg is really working hard. Open, close, and go into the rotations. Very strong standing leg. Last time. Coming back, going to the side, crossing over, and then go into the rotations. Very good. And from here, come down. Feel the difference left and right. And when we are talking about having open hips, it actually means that we want to balance all these 6 movements that we just did. So it's not only the abduction, the taking the legs out to the side, but it's all 6 movements that we need to practice. And we want to achieve balance between these 6 movements. Take a last moment here. And then release the standing pose. If you had bricks, take them away. And we come into a really wide spread of the legs. The distance here should be about one length of one of your legs. So depending on how long your legs are, it needs to be more or less. And we rotate the right foot outwards. So for this, we rotate 45 degrees the heel in, and then 45 degrees the toes out. Now the front heel should be in line with the back arch. If this is not the case, correct it. And for the back foot, we take the toes a little bit inwards. And then from here, we are preparing for Trikonasana, the triangle pose. Now we want to have an outwards rotation in the front thigh. So for this, you engage the thigh, lifting up the kneecap, and at the same time, you want to have an outwards rotation. If this is not really happening for you right now, really use your hand to help you rotate outwards. We are doing this because then the knee is in one line with the space between the big toe and the second toe, which is protecting the knee. So you want to have the knee here in one line with the foot. And now, most likely, if you do this really well with the rotation, the other hip is starting to pop out. So you need to push the hip back, bring the torso back to the middle so that you're more or less parallel to the mat. Keep the engagement in the front. Lift the arms up, shoulders are relaxed. Inhale, with your exhalation, imagine somebody is pulling you to the right-hand side. Really, really far, really, really far. And only if you cannot go any further, then you bring the hand down wherever it reaches, and you take the other arm up. Rotate both of your shoulders back and down, and make sure you're pressing the upper ribs in so that the torso is having equal length on both sides. So you don't want to bend down, but you want to have a long torso. Stay here, keep the engagement in the thigh. Draw your navel a little bit in. Last moments here. And exhale. Come up, release the arms for a moment, and change sides. Right foot rotates back in. Left one, 45 degrees with the heel out, 45 degrees with the toes out. Check the alignment between the front heel and the back arch. And then rotate the front thigh outwards. The thigh is strong, kneecap is lifted up. Bring the back hip in. Make sure you're parallel to the mat. Lift up the arms. Inhale. With your exhalation, pull yourself to the side as far as you can. And if you cannot go any further, then it's only the arm releasing down, not the upper body. And then you lift up the other arm and you rotate both of your shoulders back. Stay here. Draw your navel a little bit in. Very good. Push the upper ribs in so that you really have a long lower side of the trunk as well. Keep on breathing here. Hold it. Keep the abdominal muscles engaged. Last moments, you can look to the front, you don't have to look up. Looking up is not important. It's the legs and the upper body that are important. And then exhale, come back to the middle, release, and rotate also the back foot inwards. Make sure that now you have the outer sides of the feet both parallel to each other. And then from here, hands on the waist, engage the abdominals a little bit, engage your thighs, and then from here start coming into a forward fold. Stay there, I'm just going to move that you can see it from the side. So from here, draw your navel a little bit in, bring the hands onto your thighs, halfway lift, and then decide what is right for you. Maybe you already have a stretch in the inner thigh or the back of the thigh, then this is a good position for you. If you don't have the stretch yet, then you can release further down, bringing the hands to the ground. And maybe if this is possible for you, you can even walk the hands further backwards until they are in line with the feet. And maybe then you can even release the head to the ground. If you're doing this, make sure that the elbows are above the wrists, that it's not too far open. Hands are about shoulder distance apart. Keep on breathing here. Since we are inverting here, this is rejuvenating the body. Keep the engagement in the thighs. This is important to protect yourself that you're not overstretching. Stay here, last moments. And then slowly walk the hands back to the front, bring them back onto your thighs. And from here, long torso, lift up, walk the feet together. And we will come into Tadasana, the mountain pose or Samastiti. For this, you can practice hip distance apart with the feet. This is very healthy for the lower back. Or if you want to practice in the classical way, you really join the toes and the heels together. Engage your thighs. You want to have a slight inwards rotation here. Draw your navel a little bit in and up, showing it from the side. So don't overarch, but draw the navel in and up. Rotate the shoulders back and down. Hands and arms are long. And then take the head a little bit backwards so that you're in one line here from the head to the heel. Close your eyes. Keep this position. Keep the engagement. And make sure you're not squeezing the butt. It's the thighs that are doing the work here. The weight of your body should be a little more on the heels here than on the toes. Like this, the bones are really stacked one onto each other. Last moments here. And then slowly release this pose. And make sure that your right foot is really well grounded. What you can do for this is that you're putting the front of the foot, so kind of the toes and the mount of the toes, you put this on the ground, you lift the heel, and now you're pulling the foot a little bit backwards, and only then you put the heel down. Do this and feel for a moment the difference now between the feet. What you should feel is that you have a little bit more surface now under your right foot. And then from here, we take the other leg up and we place our foot on the thigh, but very close to the knee. So it's like the ankle is a little bit above the knee. We take the hands into Namaskar Mudra. Remember pushing the outer hip in. Take a focus point, Drishti, in front of you. And then from here, we are sitting down into a one-legged chair. The other knee wants to reach towards the ground. Stay here. You can decide how far you want to go down. The further you go down, the more, of course, you need to work in your leg. Maybe you feel a bit of a stretch in the butt. This is the piriformis muscle that is also very important for hip opening. Stay there. Last moments here. Keep on breathing. And then exhale. Slowly release. Release everything. Come to a short Tadasana in between, feet hip distance apart, just to notice the difference between the left and the right side of the body. And then once you feel ready to change sides, prepare now the left foot like we did for the other one. So place the toes and the mount of the toes on the ground, pull the foot backwards, and only then place the heel. And then we lift up the other leg, place it on the thigh above the knee, hands into Namaskar Mudra. Make sure Namaskar Mudra that you're not here, but you're really at the sternum where the last ribs meet. So it's pretty low. And then you sit down into your one-legged chair. Press the other knee towards the ground. Keep breathing here. Very good. If you want to challenge yourself a little more, sit even further down. Keep on breathing. And then exhale, slowly release. Come to Tadasana, feet hip distance apart. Breathe here. Very good. And then open your eyes again. Open the legs a little bit more than shoulder width apart. And it's a little easier if you take the toes a little out and not completely facing to the front. And then from here, we are going to squat down into Malasana. So bring your hands to Namaskar Mudra. Inhale with your exhalation, pushing the knees out like we did before. You start sitting down into Malasana, bringing the elbows from the inside against the knee. In case this is difficult for you, take your bricks and place the bricks under the heels so that you keep the heels lifted. whatever version is right for you, make sure you're trying to elongate the back here. And if you can, maybe you're able to join the thumbs back to the sternum. Maybe it's not possible right now, but if you can, bring them back. And then close your eyes here for a moment, feeling into this opening here. Maybe you feel it only in the inner thigh, maybe in the butt. It's individual. Keep on breathing. Last moment here, enjoy the stretch. And then slowly with the next exhalation, sit down with the butt, elongate the legs to the front for a moment. Make them really, really long, maybe shake them out a little bit. And then we will come to Baddha Konasana. This means we are taking our feet together and we bring them close to the body. So for this, you should be able to comfortably, cable in the way, comfortably elongate the back. In case your back is rounded, take a pillow and sit on the pillow. So you really want to be able to have a very long back. And even if your back is not rounded, it can feel very nice to sit on the pillow. Personally, I prefer. So you bring the feet close to you. The knees are open. You can either grab your feet or maybe the big toes or maybe the ankle, whatever feels right for you. And for a moment, we just go into a bit of a butterfly. So we are moving the knees up and down. And make sure you keep the spine long. Moving here. Very good. And then for the next one, you need to find your variation because it really depends on, first of all, how flexible you are, and second of all, how long the upper body and your arms are. So what we're going to do, we come to stillness with the legs. And now we want to apply pressure on the knees, but the knees at the same time are pressing backwards. So for me, the easiest is to take the lower arm. Maybe you want to do it with the hands. Some people are doing it with the elbows. But make sure the spine is long. So I'm pressing my knees down, and at the same time, my knees are pressing back. So really, really press, 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 press. Really press hard. And then release, just allow the knees to release. Take one breath in between. And then we are going in the second time. This time, before you start pressing with the knees up, allow yourself to press a little further the knees out, and only then you start to press back. Really pressing it hard. Press, 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 press. Arms are working, legs are working. Really, really pressing. Keep it strong. If you're shaking, it's good. And release. Release the knees. And you already know it. All good things are three. So let's go in a third time. See if it's possible to start from an even lower position. Open a little more. And only then you start to press back. Press, 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 press. Really, really strongly. Don't forget to breathe though. Really press it. And release. And now, after this time, simply allow your hands to walk forwards. It's okay if the back is rounding now. And just release into a forward fold here, allowing the knees to be heavy. Don't hold your legs. You really want to allow them to open now. Breathe deeply here. Imagine that with your hands you want to reach very far forward in front of you. So it's not about going down, it's about going to the front. Release the head as well.
Allow everything to be heavy. And then try to guide your breath into the areas where you feel the stretch. So most likely in the inner thigh. So imagine with every inhalation that you're bringing the fresh energy there. And like this, with every exhalation, the muscles and the tissue is able to release a little more and to come back to a healthy, smooth state. Really imagine this in front of your inner eye. Maybe you notice that your body is getting heavier and heavier. This shows you that you're releasing more and more into this asana. Take a few last moments here. And then very slowly come out of this, coming backwards. And then use your hands to close the legs, place them in front and just shake them out a little bit. And then in case you were sitting on a pillow, take the pillow out and bring the legs a little further in front of you and a little wider than hip distance apart. Let's see if I'm not killing the cable while doing this. So now we are going into little twists in this posture. So we are allowing the legs to fall to one side and we are twisting to the same side. And then you come back up with the legs. You allow both knees to fall to the ground and you start to twist to the other side. So just doing this movement, changing from side to side. And if you feel like the butt is walking to the front, this is very normal, so don't worry about it. Just for sure, if you're walking too far at some point, you need to pull yourself backwards. And really open wide into the twist here. And make sure that really both knees are reaching towards the ground. Very nice. And then next time you're on the right-hand side, stay there. And maybe you need to adjust a little bit. We want to have both legs now in a 90-degree angle. So between the thigh and the calves should be 90 degree in the front and in the back leg. If the buttocks is coming off a little bit, that's okay. And then rotate the front of the body on top of the front thigh. And from here, we're going into a forward fold. So just walk your hands forward here, coming down. And you, of course, decide how far you want to go down. Maybe you can just release the arms to the ground, rest your head, or maybe you take a brick. So there you can rest the head on, just placing the elbows onto the ground. Or maybe all this is just too much and you have the hands on the ground. So choose the version that is right for you. And then once you're in this position, allow the body to be heavy. There's no need to hold. You probably notice now that we have a stretch in the butt and maybe as well the outside of the thigh. So these muscles are very important for hip opening as well. Keep on breathing here very deeply. Allow the body to be heavy. And breathe into the area where you feel the deepest stretch. Take a few last deep breaths here. And then for a moment, walk your hands really as far forward as you can. Really, really far. Take a deep breath here. And only then walk the hands backwards slowly to come out of this position. Just place your hands behind you. And for a few rounds, just do the movement of the legs again to release a little bit the hips. Exactly. And then we change to the other side. So now you have the left leg in front. Adjust if needed that you really have the 90-degree angle one more time. Rotate the upper body above the front thigh. And then from here, start coming down into the forward fold. Take bricks or a cushion for your head if you need to. And then find your variation of this forward fold that works for you. Release the head and releasing everything else in the body. And really be heavy. Imagine how you're sinking more and more into the ground. And one more time, while you're doing this, make sure you guide the breath into the areas where you feel the deeper stretch. Keep on breathing deeply, releasing with every exhalation more into this pose. And then on this side as well, elongate the arms. Bring them as far away from you as you can for a moment. Take a deep breath here. And only then slowly walk back up, coming to the middle here. And one more time, make some movements from side to side to release a little bit. Very nice. And then from here, make sure you're more or less in the middle of your mat. We are coming to lying on our back. So we're doing this very, very slowly, just releasing towards the ground. Engage your abdominal muscles here while you very slowly come downwards. Exactly. And when you're lying on the ground, open the arms, 90-degree angle to the side. Stand both feet mat distance apart. And now you're keeping the feet on the ground as they are. And then with your next exhalation, you allow the knees to fall to the right-hand side. And now think about elongating the left side of the trunk. So you want to push the left hip further away from you. This means that you bring the left knee a little closer to the ground. If this is already a big stretch for you, stay here. If you want to intensify, you take the right foot and you place the right foot on top of the left knee. Like this, you're really pushing it a little more towards the ground. And then keep on breathing here with both legs reaching towards the ground. So now we have an inwards rotation in the left thigh. Take another deep breath here. And then in case you have the right foot on top of the left leg, keep it like this and just stand up the left foot onto the ground. If you don't have the leg up yet, take the right foot above the left knee right now. And then from here, listen carefully. We take the left foot and we walk the left foot on the mat to the right side of the mat. So the right foot, the left foot wants to reach more or less the right side of the mat. Like this, the left knee is more or less in line with the left hip. And then we are releasing the left knee towards the ground. You can have a brick here to support a little. I'm going to show it from this perspective. So I'm releasing the knee towards the ground here. And then I also release the right knee as far as I can. For some people like me, it's very high up. Other people can go further down. So both knee eventually want to reach closer to the ground. So now what we did is the opposite from the twist we just had. Instead of having the inwards rotation, we have the outwards rotation in the left leg right now. Keep on breathing here and make sure you're not going too far. This is very individual. For some people, it's very, very strong. Other people don't feel much.
Breathe deeply into the areas where you feel the deepest stretch. Last few moments here. And then prepare yourself to come out, just walking the left foot back to the middle, taking the right foot down like this, having both feet on the ground for a moment. Take a deep breath here. If you had a brick, take it away. And then open the arms one more time, 90 degrees to the side if you had moved them. And walk the feet a little wider one more time, mat distance apart. And then with your next exhalation now, we allow the knees to fall to the left-hand side. One more time now, bring length into the upper side of the body. So now it's the right side of the body where you want to bring more length, pushing the hip away for this. Or other, I could say, press the right knee closer towards the ground. Take a few deep breaths here. You can always turn the head to the opposite side if this feels nice, but you don't have to. And then if you want to intensify, place the left foot onto the right knee. Like this, you're pushing the right knee closer towards the ground. Keep on breathing here. And then take the right knee back up. Walk the foot to the middle. If you didn't have the left leg lifted yet, put it now onto the right thigh. And then use the right foot to walk to the left-hand side of your mat. And then release the right knee towards the ground, support here with a brick, and then allow the other knee to fall as far towards the ground as this is possible for you. Maybe it's a lot, maybe it's not. Very individual. Keep on breathing here. Don't exaggerate it. It's very intense. And if you don't have a brick and you feel it's too much, you just release the left leg. This is a possibility as well. Guide the breath into the areas where you feel the stretch. Last moments here. And then slowly walk the right foot back to the middle. Take the brick away if you had one.
Release the left leg to the ground as well. And for a moment, simply move the legs a little bit from side to side. Don't go too far down. The feet are still on the ground, just moving a little bit side to side. And then from here, if you have a brick, I recommend doing this with a brick. If you don't have a brick, I'll show you in a moment. So we are going into a supported setu bandha, supported bridge pose. So you're having your feet hip distance apart on the ground, rather close to the buttocks. You lift the pelvis up. Maybe you need to go onto your toes, and then you place the brick under the sacrum and you release here. If it's too high, don't take the highest position of the brick, but use a sitting brick, no problem. And then you can just have your arms slightly open to the side. Or if you have the standing brick, you can interlace the hands under the brick and really tuck the shoulders under the body. Have more chest opening here. If you don't have a brick, you do exactly the same thing, but without a brick. So you just interlace your hands, tuck the shoulders under, and you keep the pelvis lifted. If you don't have a brick, it's more work for the legs. Stay here. Keep on breathing deeply into the belly. Notice how this affects the feeling in your hips. If you don't have a break, release maybe for a moment. Take a deep breath. And then come back up. And then everybody, we are changing the interlacing of the hands. So if, for example, the left index finger is on top of the hands right now, you just change all the fingers so that the right index finger is on top. Keep the shoulders rolled under the body. And keep on breathing deeply. Now we're stretching our hip flexor, the psoas muscle, the muscle of the soul. Last couple of breaths here. If it's too much, if you don't have a break, release already, no problem. If you release towards the ground, simply keep the feet standing. Don't hug the knees in. Last moments here. And then slowly press the feet, the toes into the ground. Take the brick out. Release the pelvis to the ground. Keep the feet at least hip distance apart, maybe even a little wider, and allow for a moment the knees to fall together. And simply allow the lower back now with every exhalation to be heavy, to release towards the ground. It can also feel nice now to place the hands on your belly to help the body to be heavy in this area. So really breathe deeply and imagine how you're really sinking in with every exhalation. You become very, very heavy. Take a few more deep breaths here. And then if you can, without changing much, come from here to your Shavasana.
if you have any issues with back pain, it might be nice to keep the feet standing, but then if possible, don't allow the knees to fall together. If not, just elongate your legs out. If you need some support under the knees, you can always place bricks under the knees. And then take the arms slightly open to the sides, palms facing upwards. And allow the body to be completely heavy. Really sink into the ground. And let go of any tension that you might have. Slowly bring the awareness back into your body and start making first movements with the fingers and the toes. And allow the movements to grow bigger. And stand one foot after the other onto the ground. And roll over to the right hand side for a moment. You can use the right arm as a pillow. Taking a few deep breaths there. And taking a last moment. A feeling inside of your hip joints, the hip area in general. Noticing how your whole body feels now after this practice. And then from here, if possible, with eyes closed, push yourself back up to a sitting posture, sitting on your heels or a brick or a pillow. And then here, take your hands, bring them into Namaskar Mudra. Take a deep inhalation in, and with your exhalation, slowly bow the head down, joining the mind to your heart, and preparing yourself to go back into your day. Namaste. Thank you so much, everybody.